What's up everybody, Mark with Coffee&Toys here. Welcome to another vintage G.I. Joe classic figure unboxing and review. It's Sunday and you know what that means. That means we unbox classic / vintage. I'm going to use those two interchangeably, but basically any G.I. Joe figure that could have been from 1982 all the way through 2016. That's what I'm considering vintage and or classic, just depending on whatever terminology you want to use. But welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Mark. I'm with Coffee&Toys. I talk about coffee sometimes. Most of the time I'm just sitting here drinking it. But today's coffee is from Green Mountain, and it is the Black Granite Espresso Roast. So, going to enjoy a sip of that real quick in my really cool Skeletor mug. I'm going to set it off to the side, and yeah. So on Sundays, I review these figures, and what we'll do, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back for another one, welcome back. But what I do is I pretty much review these like I do my other reviews of action figures. We're going to look at it in the packaging. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you maybe some insights to the figure, what I remember growing up, what I remember when I purchased it, or when, rather my parents probably purchased it whenever I was a kid, and just things about it, if there's any little hidden details. And then, we'll actually open the figure up and talk about it. And accessorize it, do all those fun things, play around with it, and then I'll give you my thoughts, my final thoughts on that particular figure. So, without further ado, today's figure is another requested one, and one I've been very excited about. Today we will be reviewing the G.I. Joe Bat, I should say Cobra Bat, version 2, but let's talk about it. Okay, I'm going to come out of the gate and say it right now. The Cobra Bat V2 does not get the love it deserves. I know it's not as iconic as the V1 bat that everybody remembers, but I'm going to tell you right now, I love the version 2 bat. That was my bat growing up. I think my parents purchased mine. I believe I was around 4th grade. So I was, let's see, it came out in what, 90, 91, somewhere in that range. So I would have been 8, 9 years old and, right? 90, 91. Yeah, I would have been 8 or 9 years old when I got it. And I loved it. I thought it was so cool because now I had another faceless trooper that was a robot that could just get destroyed by Snake Eyes. That was pretty much what it was. Snake Eyes version 4 was my Snake Eyes, by the way. And he would just destroy this bat over and over and over through legions of them, through platoons of them. Snake Eyes would just destroy them. And I really like the bat. I like the neon colors. That's what grabbed my attention as a kid. I remember watching the Deke show and seeing that Cobra Bat. Now, I also remember going, well, they're calling that a Cobra Bat, but the Cobra Bat I remember is from the Sunbow series, which is based on the V1. So I had a little bit of confusion there. And then at that same time, I was reading the G.I. Joe comic, and it was around issue 130. I think my first issue was 137, either 133 or 137, whichever one has. I have the shirt of it, where it has Snake Eyes just on the cover wearing the V4 colors. But there's a Cobra Bat in that issue that pops out of the Merc, and it doesn't look like either version of the bat. And I always wondered why they didn't make that one. I think that'd be a really cool one. Hasbro, make that version of the bat. That would be really cool. But I'm getting off track a little bit. The Cobra Bat V2 I thought was fantastic. So I can't wait for us to actually look at this figure and maybe finally give it some love that it so deservingly deserves? I don't know. But let's cut over and let's look at Cobra Bat version 2. Okay, here we have it, the Cobra Bat Battle Android Trooper version 2. And like most things with Hasbro, they had to constantly be reinventing themselves. At this point in the early 90s, they were stacked up against some pretty heavy hitters. Most notably, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles things were flying off the shelves. I think it was still a little early for Power Rangers, but man, they had a lot to contend with. So not only with G.I. Joe, but also with Transformers. So things got a little brighter, so to speak. And the figures started getting very bright paint applications, and they started getting, spring-loaded accessories. That was kind of the two big things that Hasbro put in place to really try to up the ante and keep the toy line relevant during what could be considered some of the leaner years of G.I. Joe. But I remember getting this figure and just falling in love with it. I think it was really cool. The lenticular chest piece, which is very cool. We'll actually find out if this is actually going to stay on, because if you've noticed before, if you ever look these figures up on on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, whatnot, a lot of them are missing this lenticular sticker because just over time that glue deteriorates. So to find one that still has that sticker is actually a pretty big feat. Yeah, but man, this is actually really, really good card. So, I mean, everything about this figure, this is not one you should open. So normally I've been trying to buy figures that are pretty beat up on the card, you know, because the whole point is I'm opening them up. It's going to be loose in my collection. And yeah, but man, I just remember loving this art. I love the digitized looking blast. Now, you know, when they first started the G.I. Joe line 82, it was kind of a exploding blast that was more fire-based. And then as time went on, they've changed it. And I always really like this digital version. Let me know what version of the fire blast or whatever you want to call it in the background was your favorite. I always like the digital looking one. And then, of course, you see down here, weapon really shoots, battle stand included. So yeah, they were including the battle stands at this point. You can see his accessory, so you can swap it out on his arm. And yeah, let's just look over here on the side so you can see it includes hand grenade launcher, battle stand, modular missile launcher, and missile. And you can see that its original price at Toys R Us was $2.99. That's actually a little more on the expensive side for a G.I. Joe. I wish this one cost me $2.99. It was significantly more. But that being said, we flip around the back. We see that awesome cross sell that we love. And just kind of looking at it really quick, I can tell you I got quite a few, well, maybe not as many as I thought I did in this line. I definitely got Snake Eyes, definitely had the Bat, had Cobra Commander, and I remember I wanted to get Dusty, and for whatever reason, I remember never getting him. But yeah, I had a few of these guys. But here we go. Going down to the file card, Bats are totally artificial robotic troopers with extreme primitive logic circuits and very sophisticated targeting sensors. They can absorb enormous amounts of battle damage and still continue on their missions as long as their trigger finger circuits are intact. Bats are usually deployed from low-flying aircraft without the use of parachute. This delivery system is normally quite demoralizing to opposing troops who happen to witness it. The new Bats, although upgraded in weapon systems, have been severely downgraded in logic and memory components, which may be deemed unnecessary for what is now a machine gun with legs. The right arm can be replaced with a modular missile launcher capable of firing a wide assortment of ordnance. The basic model has 3 forward gears, no reverse option, and can be recharged from an ordinary household electrical outlet. So, very interesting. I don't remember that. And of course, down here we have 1990 Hasbro. So, okay, so this came out in 1990, I suppose. But yeah, we see our flag point, weapon really shoots. And yeah, that being said, you guys know how this channel works. I take these guys off the packaging in real time. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to actually cut the video a minute. We'll come back. You'll see me unboxing it, and then we'll just dive right into the figure. Oh man, let me tell you, this is going to be really hard because this is a very pristine card. But we're here to open toys. Freedom. We want freedom from plastic. So here we go. Oh, there we go. So actually, that's peeling off very nicely. Hey, we actually might be able to do this fairly decently. Watch, I'll say that, and then it'll just go to hell in a handbasket. Oh, well, that actually worked out pretty good. I might actually be able to just pull the figure out and leave the bubble there for now. Perfect. And as you can see on the inside, it shows you how to actually use, to take off the hand, plug in the rocket launcher, how to use the rocket launcher. So very cool. Very nice that glue wasn't on there very, very much. So I'm going to put this off to the side. And down here we have our Cobra Bat. There he is. There it is, I guess I should say. Joints have never been moved. This is how it was in the package. So let's see how the joints move now. Oh, very, very tight. Very tight. That is on there. I am very happy with that. So let's just zoom in a bit. That sticker is on there perfectly. And of course, you've got the knees. You can hear them. It's the first time these joints have ever been moved in over 30 years. This is a absolutely perfect figure. People are probably having heart attacks that I opened that thing up. But that's what we do on this channel. That is the point of this, is to open these figures and review them. Gosh, I remember having this as a kid and loving it. The detail on it is so great. Now, I mean, if we zoom in a little bit here, you can see where they've made these, the designers made it look like you could open the back of the bat to work on it. You know, imagine Scrap Iron or Mindbender working on it. And then, yeah, we got the Made in China right there on the rear. And of course, if we look at the leg, we see 1991 Hasbro. Now, wait a second. Didn't I say this card said 1990? Okay, so this figure is actually made in 1991. I apologize for earlier. But yeah, strong O-ring, very, very tight. And of course, this is the hand that actually is removable. So look at that. Just pops right off like it was meant to. And yeah, all the way down to the feet. What an awesome, awesome figure. Now, of course, we can't just talk about the figure. We've got to talk about his accessories. So he does come with his battle stand, which we all know and love. So there's just the typical black G.I. Joe battle stand. We get his grenade launcher hand accessory that you just pop the hand off, put this grenade launcher on, and there you go. You can see a nice, just cast in that same fluorescent orange. One of the figures you didn't really lose. If you remember the 80s and even the early 90s, like everything was like the same 5 dull colors. So, I mean, you'd see this guy laying on your green shag carpet and it stuck out like a sore thumb. Wouldn't step on that guy. Makes a good traffic cone too. And then finally we get the missile and the missile launcher. And of course we're going to play with this. So you just push it right in, get a nice click, and then there was the firing mechanism. And you just plug it in to his hand. So if I can figure out how to shoot it, which way does it go? Back? There we go. Well, that wasn't very fun, was it? Well, I just shot that across the room. So let me walk over there and get that real quick. Luckily, it landed on my computer desk. Man, I don't remember this thing having that much range. So it's funny, as a kid, you probably don't think it shoots far enough, and then as an adult, you're like, holy crap, that thing shoots far. But yeah, so let's go ahead and put that back in there. And let's just go ahead and accessorize him. And we'll go through, like I said, we play with these things because that's what I remember doing as a kid. So we just took this off. Now, if you remember, the V1 bat came with a backpack. Unfortunately, this one did not, in lieu of having that large missile launcher. But yeah, my bat was always packing this for heat, and I loved it. And I remember also, it's funny that I put him in this position because I remember using this position as a child, and I would just have him smack people because it made his arm almost twice as long. So, I mean, if you compare them, it gave him so much more reach. So not only did he have a grenade launcher, he also just had this big old clubbing hand and just boom, knocking Joes out left and right. And yeah, very, very, very fun figure. But let's go ahead and take that off. And let's put on the accessory. Oh, I just remembered something else about this figure. So not only could you do this and put it on, you could actually attach the other hand or the grenade launcher to the... Oh, I guess you can attach them both. I didn't realize there was one on each side. So you always hear me talk about in the classified reviews, I like whenever they make the figure able to carry all of his accessories as I drop him. And they did the same thing here. Not only can you carry the accessories like this, you can also plug it into his backpack or his back and use it as a backpack. So you could actually have the hand on or the grenade launcher on and have it this way. Pardon me. But very cool. So let's go ahead and put that grenade launcher back on. Evidently, I'm not good at putting these things actually into or onto the figure. And then I'm going to put him on his stand. Wow. I am doing fantastic. Ugh, this was easier when I had smaller hands as a child. So let me put him on his stand real quick, because obviously he's going to need that stand to help him stand, so to speak. Let me go ahead and angle the camera down so you can see this a little better. And yeah, let's just plug that right on there. Perfect. There we go. We have our V2 bat, and just looking fantastic. I absolutely love this figure. I know I've said it a number of times, but I really did have good memories of this. Now, it also did come with The Secret of the Dark Lagoon. We have looked over this previously, but just for the sake of, we'll look at it again. This is stuff you could have bought back in 1990, 1991 from G.I. Joe using your flag points. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing this time. But you can see this is a smaller ad, and you can just see on the back how much these figures were. $7.95 looks to be, or let me, sorry, $4.25 is the cheapest for the dog tags, or I'm sorry, actually the cheapest is $3.95. So from $3.95 to $29.95 with flag points, without flag points, it gives you the price as well. You could have had more G.I. Joes. G.I. Joe offer P.O. Box 2201, Maple Plain, Minnesota. Allows 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. Send a cashier's check or a money order. No cash, please. Those things are so cool. I'm going to love looking at more of those. But yeah, let's go ahead and bring in, because I think it's worth doing a comparison of, let's bring in the Bat version 1. Now, of course, like I said, I did not have this figure as a child. I've had it quite a few times as an adult. And it is one of the few vintage G.I. Joes that I still own. Or rather, it's one I've still owned that I haven't, sold it and wound up buying it back. I've actually managed to keep it for a while now. But yeah, there's the difference. And again, I understand why so many people like this figure. It was the first one. It had all the different hand accessories. But man, I really think the version 2 Bat deserves a little bit more love. The spring-loaded weapon, the ability to take that missile launcher and connect it to his back, put the extra accessories on it, have it all together, is very reminiscent of the V1 Bat. But you guys tell me what you think. Which one is your favorite? Version 1 and version 2? What do you like about version 2? What do you not like about version 2? A lot of people are going to say the neon colors, and I totally get that. But yeah, I'm really excited to put this figure on my shelf, on my vintage shelf. So I think that's going to wrap up this video. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Next Sunday, we'll be back. We'll be doing another vintage unboxing, just to give you guys a schedule. On Fridays, I review the G.I. Joe Modern Era comics, the Real American Heroes, Duke, Cobra Commander, soon to be Destro, Scarlet, all those coming out from Image Comics. Saturdays, I do my typical toy reviews. So if you're interested in Motu, G.I. Joe Classified, Star Wars, stuff like that, wrestling, that's when I'm going to do those. Sundays are going to be, like I said, vintage days, where we unbox these figures. And then Mondays are my reviews of the Marvel run of the G.I. Joe classic comic issues 1 through 155. And yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up. If you liked what you saw, please leave me a like. Ooh, that missile launcher is right there. Like this video. It only takes a second of your time. Really helps out the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if anything I've said is interesting to you. Any of those days sound like something you'd be interested in listening to, watching. Really would appreciate it. Thank you so much, folks. Make sure you comment down below. And with that said, I'm Mark. You've been watching Coffee with Toys, and I will see you later.